चाओ चाओ दोस्तों, द प्रीमियर लीग इज बैक और ये वीडियो है प्रीमियर लीग प्रीव्यू एंड प्रेडिक्शंस का। आप हो एम टॉक स्पोर्ट पे और मैं हूं आपका होस्ट और दोस्त अजय मेनन। If you're new to the channel, it would be really great if you can hit the subscribe button. I do a lot of content around football, of course, Formula One, the Olympics, and of course, cricket. Trying to get a few other sports also in, but yes, that subscribe button really helps. So without any further ado, let's get started with the league that is the most famous league in the world, the Premier League. Man City are the defending champions and Arsenal, well, they push them all the way, but City inevitably find a way to win. That is the magic of Pep, और ये Pep का last season है, आखिरी season at City. It's already been announced and I feel that this year around things are going to be a bit different. आप देख रहे हो कि City have strengthened with Savinho, but they've lost Julian Alvarez as well. और जैसा लग रहा है प्री सीजन में Pep is going to brood in a lot of youngsters into the team, planning ahead for the future. So you have Oscar Bob, you have Jason McAtee who's returned to the club. तो काफी सारे youngsters हैं, but of course जो उनका foundation है that is still very strong, and you will see the usual suspects of Haaland, Rodri, Bernardo Silva, even De Bruyne. It could be his last season as well for City, you never know. So this season is basically one step in the present and one step for the future. ऐसा season लग रहा है. It's going to be very difficult for them to maintain the title charge, but you can't write them off given their successes over the course of so many years in the Premier League under Pep Guardiola. तो यार bookmakers हिसाब से तो City would start favorites to win the Premier League, and of course, like I mentioned at the top, the team that's been pushing them for the last couple of seasons are Arsenal. Pep's protege Mikel Arteta has been doing a brilliant job, और somehow Arsenal have been falling short, but इस साल ऐसा लग रहा है कि they might be able to push City even further as per the bookmakers, and you can see that with their summer activity. They've gotten Ricardo Calafiori, highly priced asset in European football. He had a very good season for Bologna last year. मैं तो बोलते रहता हूँ कि Calafiori मेरा बच्चा है given my Roma connection. But Arsenal have made sure that जो backline है इनका with David Raya, of course, playing Arteta ball, and a back four of Calafiori, Gabriel, Saliba and Ben White, it's right up there. I mean, I can hardly see the difference between City's and Arsenal's back four. I really feel that they can go toe to toe on the day with City, but ये एक marathon है, and unfortunately Arsenal have fallen short in this marathon. It's not a sprint. So if they get an out-and-out goal scorer like Osimhen, while we are recording this, we're still a couple of days away from the start of the season, and of course 15 odd days before the close of the transfer window. So from now till then बहुत कुछ हो सकता है. Arsenal could well strengthen the squad by adding in a striker like an Osimhen. I'm not saying Osimhen ही आएगा, but maybe a goal scorer, maybe a midfielder as well. If ये दो signing आए ना Arsenal के पास में, तो I would really, even the bookmakers I think would tip them as favorites to pip Man City. ऐसा लग रहा है. But at this point of time, very very solid team, and I love the way that Arteta has been given the freedom. He's molding a very very special team. You've seen with the re-emergence of Kai Havertz, so off to say, Gabriel Martinelli, Bukayo Saka, all looking very good. And of course, जो defense का मैंने बात किया था with Calafiori, now kind of like strengthening the back line. Arsenal could be real serious title contenders, but you have to wait and watch the video till the end for my entire Premier League prediction table, including the winners and including the teams that will finish in the European places, and of course जो relegation वाले, I mean जो promoted teams है, relegation, सब कुछ end में होगा. But at this point of time, City, Arsenal, I would say, are a very solid shout out for the top two as per the bookmakers. And उसके बाद में you have a variety of teams actually who can push themselves and get them going all the way, starting with Liverpool का एक ये तो transition season है because Jurgen Klopp has moved on from the club and you have Arne Slot come in. Surprisingly, Liverpool, again at the time of recording, still haven't made a single signing. The only club in the top 5 European leagues जिन्होंने अब तक एक signing भी नहीं किया. यार मैं वो जुबी डुबा गाना सुन के मैं परेशान हो गया हूँ, because that is now kind of dominating my Twitter timeline. Zubimendi has rejected Liverpool apparently, so they're still without a signing when we're recording this. Very interesting because pre-season mein I've seen Arne Slot kind of impress at Liverpool. I've followed Arne Slot's career at Feyenoord as well. So very pragmatic coach, loves to kind of like, impose his ideas onto the team, and he created a beast at Feyenoord with Jimenez. Jimenez was so prolific. So मैंने ये live stream में भी कहा था कि I feel that this year Darwin Núñez could have a breakthrough season finally. Núñez को chances तो बहुत मिलते हैं, but he rarely puts those chances away. But I feel that under Slot, Núñez could become as prolific as Jimenez was at Feyenoord. And of course, Luis Diaz, Diogo Jota, if he remains fit, and Momo Salah, you can't count him out. Absolute champion. So Liverpool are going to play some exciting football in my opinion. But again, ये जो depth नहीं है उनके पास में, and since this is a transition year from Klopp to Slot, it's going to be a very interesting, kind of season for Liverpool and Liverpool fans. यार, Liverpool का, I would say with Liverpool, Man United have been a complete opposite in terms of the transfer market. They've made some serious moves. एंड आप देख सकते हो कि टेन हाग को भी एक वोट ऑफ कॉन्फिडेंस दिया गया है. अनफॉर्चुनेटली दे फेल शॉर्ट इन द कम्युनिटी शील्ड अगेंस्ट मैन सिटी, बट मैन यूनाइटेड हैव strengthened significantly. Of course, De Ligt is on his way as we record this. Mazzaroi as well from Bayern. They've gotten Joshua Zirkzee from Bologna, and for I think for the time being, Man United में थोड़ा सा एक stability दिखाई दे रहा है. I know कि Man United fans have had to endure lot of turmoil after Sir Alex, but for a while now I think Ten Hag ने थोड़ा तो शिप को स्टेबल किया है from last season to this season, and it'll be very interesting to see how Rasmus Højlund and Joshua Zirkzee kind of link up. Another signing that I mentioned was Euro. Euro unfortunately is injured along with Højlund. Euro is a kind of centre back that has the physical prowess to play in the Premier League. He's got the pace as well, and a very exciting talent for Man United for sure, and they paid big bucks for him, and hopefully Man United ka jo backline has been very unstable with Johnny Evans, Harry Maguire, but with Euro and De Ligt coming into the fold, maybe things can change. Van Bissaka has also moved on from Man United, so right back ka bhi ek plug hai. Mazzaroi will come there, and of course they got Diego Dalot also. So United fans don't need to kind of like be very kind of sad about their hopes, but हाँ एक गोल स्कोरर की कमी है मेरे हिसाब से. एक जो आउट एंड आउट एक गोल स्कोरर हो उसकी कमी है, बिकॉज हमने प्री सीजन में देखा है कि ब्रूनो फर्नांडिस has been playing as a false nine. Zirkzee is also a 9.5. Højlund is obviously out injured, so the goals, where does it come from? You need Rashford to be prolific again, Garnacho also to contribute, and Amad Diallo also to chip in with a few goals. So वो एक question mark है, but I think with the course of summer activity and the way that Man United are heading under Ineos, United fans have a lot to be optimistic on rather than being pessimistic. So ये जो top 4 का है, like I'm not going in this order, but the first 4 teams that we previewed are of course City, Arsenal and United, Liverpool. Coming on to some London clubs, Chelsea. What the hell is happening there? अगर किसी को पता है तो please leave a comment below. मेरे को समझ में नहीं आ रहा क्या चल रहा है वहाँ पे, because Omar Dion is in a hotel in London. His move has collapsed. Gallagher is in a hotel in Madrid. उसका move to Atletico Madrid is also a question mark. And it's a new era. Enzo Maresca has come in, and he's obviously this is a giant leap for him. He's been coach of Parma. He's worked under Pep at City, and of course Leicester को last year he brought them up from the Championship to the Premier League, and then left them in the summer to join in at Chelsea. मेरे हिसाब से तो it's been a bit harsh on Pochettino, and I know कि Chelsea fans they have absolutely no idea what the hell is going on at their club, and I completely feel for them यार. ऐसा नहीं कि Chelsea कोई financial trouble में है. They have the money to spend, but I really don't know what they're trying to do and achieve at the club. Lot of youngsters, unknown, random players that have been brought in. जैसे कि Pochettino को पता ही नहीं था last season कि उसके पास कितने सारे player थे. I think Maresca का भी यही हाल है. Maresca is an interesting coach, though. I still say that he is yet to be tested at the highest level. And Leicester, maybe last season, he was expected to win the championship. And initially, he had a very good start with Leicester, but then slowly teams found him out. And Leicester could have easily been promoted far, I would say, much quicker than eventually how when they manage it to. तो Maresca का ये जो transition रहेगा into managing into the big time is going to be very interesting watch. But with the players that Chelsea have signed, it remains to see कि ये जो Todd Boehly का जो model है ये करना क्या चाहता है eventually. Unfortunately, I don't see a very exciting season for them. They're in the Conference League, I know, and probably early bookmakers' favorites to start as the winners of the Conference League. तो देखते हैं वहाँ पे क्या होता है, and let's see how long Maresca can last. Interesting thing happening in London, across from the west into the north. Arsenal's rivals Tottenham have just strengthened their squad with Dominic Solanke, big money signing in from Bournemouth. I know कि ये Premier League tax है, English talent है, तो the fee is 65 million, 70 million odd pounds, but it's a huge transfer fee. But Solanke was pretty decent for Bournemouth last year, and I felt that last season Tottenham really missed that number 9 ka presence after the departure of Harry Kane, of course. So Solanke has been brought in to fill those Kane-shaped shoes. It'll be interesting to see how he shapes up under Ange Postecoglou, because Postecoglou भी बहुत attack-minded coach है, तो Heung-min Son तो है ही, Timo Werner है. I think Solanke is quite a decent addition. Very good FPL pick also, if you ask me. Baki to signings have been some youngsters. Archie Gray from Leeds. I've been following his career. Supposed to be the next big thing. Let's see how he shapes up at Spurs. Lot of games, lot of tournaments. So I think he'll get a fair chance. But with Solanke's addition, I think Spurs have added to that firepower, and they'll be looking to improve their position. So yeah, I think we can move on to London, to some other clubs as well. Guys, how good have Aston Villa been? Unai Emery has taken them into the Champions League, और अभी इनके ऊपर काफी प्रेशर आएगा to balance both the Premier League and the Champions League campaign. आपने last season देखा था कि Newcastle Champions League में थे, despite winning their first few games, they eventually got knocked out of Europe, and वो impact उनको लगा eventually in the Premier League as well. So Villa के लिए तो काफी बड़ा challenge रहेगा. Unai Emery, though he has managed some of the biggest teams, and of course he's a European legend, man. I mean, he is seasoned and he is experienced enough to manage in both fronts. But how will Villa cope up? That remains to be seen. I think Villa have not made very big signings as such. Douglas Luiz has moved on from Villa to Juve, and they've gotten Amadou Onana to fill his boots. Baki, I would say that a lot of impetus would still be on Ollie Watkins being their focal point of attack, and the team is built around Ollie Watkins. Moussa Diaby has also moved on, तो वहाँ पे थोड़े एक गैप्स है मेरे हिसाब से. तो विला का काफ़ी इंटरेस्टिंग रहेगा to see how they balance both the competitions, but expect them to be there and thereabouts, challenging for the European places, and maybe even causing a few upsets in the Champions League, knowing Unai Emery. Another team in claret and blue are West Ham, and West Ham, to मेरे हिसाब से, have been having one of the best summers, if not the best summer for a Premier League team. The kind of signings they have made for new manager Julian Lopetegui is brilliant, और बहुत सारे अच्छे नाम हैं. Max Tillman है, there is Crescencio Somerville, very exciting talent from Leeds United. Füllkrug आया है from Germany, from Dortmund. तो काफी इंटरेस्टिंग प्रोजेक्ट है वेस्ट हैम में. ऑफ कोर्स उनके लिए भी एक आई वुड से इट्स अ नेक्स्ट चैप्टर इन द बुक, बिकॉज डेविड मॉयस, मैं डाविड मॉयस बोल रहा था, इतना यूरोपियन पेडिग्री मिल गया कि मैं David Moyes has moved on from West Ham, and I think West Ham fans have a lot to be excited, for. And थोड़ा समय लगेगा obviously for all these signings to get integrated, but I hope that Lopetegui gets his time, and he kind of like imposes a football that he wants to see with these set of players who are pretty capable to do it. So West Ham, another very interesting team to watch out. Moving on to the northeast, Newcastle. Newcastle unfortunately have not been able to spend a lot of money due to FFP restrictions. हमको पता है कि उनके Saudi owners हैं, but they have not been able to kind of like put all of that into their summer transfer market. But Eddie Howe अभी भी है, he's very convinced with the project, and Eddie Howe, I think मेरे हिसाब से is the best English manager out there, very very reliable, and he's obviously laying the foundations for the future, because Newcastle, if things go as per plan, will explode and will be right up there along with the likes of maybe the Manchester teams, Liverpool and Arsenal. So Newcastle के लिए तो एक ये सीजन में यूरोप नहीं है उनके पास में, so they have the Premier League to focus on. they have most of their players, and nothing very flashy, but expect a solid performance from the boys at Newcastle under Eddie Howe. Wrapping the section up with Crystal Palace. Yeah, Palace, of course, after Roy Hodgson left, eventually Glasner took over, और Oliver Glasner ने बहुत कुछ सही किया यार. Crystal Palace suddenly became, I would say, even prime Barcelona, wearing their colors. And Wilfred Zaha का जो departure का वो एक shadow था that finally went off. And all the Crystal Palace players came into their own. भले वो एजे था या ओले से था या सबसे हमारा फेवरेट, आई नो, अगर आप वीडियो देख रहे हो ये, शाउट आउट टू रक्षित, फैंटेसी स्काउट, Jean-Philippe Mateta. He tucks in his shirt, number 14, and what a legendary striker. He was just born in the wrong era. This era is not for him. मेरे grey beard ये बताता कि I watched the Premier League during the early 2000s, and Mateta is a player from that era. Well, Olise has moved on to Bayern Munich, but Glasner is still doing a fantastic job, and Crystal Palace fans have a lot to get excited on. Maybe even a push for European places. You never know, yaar. Crystal Palace, very solid team. Expect the same attacking brand of football that Glasner showed us last season, and they only have, the highest ceiling to reach from here. Let's talk about Brighton and Hove Albion for a bit now. Brighton have obviously lost Roberto De Zerbi to Marseille. They've moved on from De Zerbi to a very young manager, 31-year-old. His name is Fabian Hürzeler, if I'm not mistaken. Former St. Pauli manager. 31 साल का है. आप क्या कर रहे थे when you were 31? He's living our dream of being a football manager at the highest level. But of course, it's a transition period for Brighton. They were in Europe last season, finished 11th place, but this is a whole new start. So, interesting team to watch out, but don't expect the miracles immediately. But Brighton can never be counted out, because जो उनका philosophy है, every manager has come in and taken it to the next level. Graham Potter के बाद De Zerbi के बाद ये जर्मन बंदा आया है, and be very sure that they're going to play the same kind of football that you saw Graham Potter playing, De Zerbi playing, and वो जो textbook है इनका, that is going to be playbook rather, that's going to be carried on into this new era. Talking about another team from the south coast of England, AFC Bournemouth. Of course, Bournemouth have lost Dominic Solanke. They're on the lookout for a proper number 9. But again, a very interesting project there as well. Thiago Pinto, जो रोमा के ex general manager थे, he's taken over the reins as the sporting director at Bournemouth. And Iraola is a very pragmatic, attack-minded coach. And काफी, I would say, question marks थे when he initially came in at Bournemouth. But I think eventually with time he implemented his philosophy, and we saw some beautiful football being played at Bournemouth. But वो जो number 9, जो एक striker का जो एक replacement चाहिए उनको for Solanke, that has yet to happen at the time of this recording. Probably it will happen as we end the month of August and the transfer window. But again, keep an eye on Bournemouth, and I still expect them to play their brand of football, very attacking and free-flowing football. But I don't know whether it'll be good enough to make it to the top 10, but I'm just getting ahead of myself. Predictions at the end. Moving on to the next set of teams very quickly. Fulham have made a very exciting signing in the form of Emil Smith-Rowe, Arsenal Academy product. I feel that this season is going to be a season of redemption for him. Keep an eye out for him. He's going to be a star at Fulham if he remains fit. Nottingham Forest के बारे में बात करेंगे. टिपिकल नूनो टीम, बहुत सारे प्लेयर्स है, बट नूनो है तो नॉटिंघम फॉरेस्ट सेफ है. जब तक नूनो है तो भरोसा रखो नॉटिंघम फॉरेस्ट फैंस. लेस्टर सिटी are back in the Premier League, again a team that saw the heights and then eventually suffered relegation. They also have a new manager in the form of Steve Cooper, former Nottingham boss. And यार Leicester City में the one thing that I'm looking forward to is seeing a Jamie Vardy swan song, one of the greatest strikers of the modern era, and this could very well be his last season in the Premier League. So really excited to see Leicester City. Yeah, Wolves we know is a George Mendes owned team, and he's got another player from Portugal to replace Pedro Neto, Rodrigo Gomez. Exciting Portuguese talent, but it remains to see how quickly can he adapt to the Premier League. And Max Kilman भी Wolves से West Ham चला गया. तो यार Gary O'Neill अच्छा मैनेजर है, but even he's got his limitations. So Wolves fans, I don't know, it's a very hot and cold preview for them. Moving on to another promoted team, Ipswich Town. Again, McKenna comes with a lot of pedigree, having worked with Jose Mourinho, with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at Man United. Ipswich को back-to-back promotions पे लेके आया Premier League में. They've been overachieving, and the star players, Omari Hutchinson, of course, was a star for them last year in the Championship. Permanent signing हो गया अभी Premier League Ipswich के लिए, and again from Cobham from Chelsea. So McKenna again is one of the brightest sparks of the game, and Ipswich is definitely a stepping stone for him. Expect exciting things from Ipswich Town. Moving on to another promoted team, Southampton, again one of the staples of the Premier League. The Saints have produced so many talents across their history, even more recently as well. So it was a shame for me to see them go into the Championship, but only after a season they've bounced back. They've sold Che Adams to Torino, but they have Armstrong, who's a proven goal scorer for them. But Southampton fans, again, it'll be interesting to see how they bounce back, from that pain of relegation back into the Premier League. But Southampton Brighton, the South Coast derby is back. I know कि उनका rival Portsmouth है, but at least we have some glimmer of a Southampton, Bournemouth, Brighton derby across the South Coast. The last two teams, firstly, I want to start with Brentford. Brentford finished 16th last year, और थॉमस फ्रैंक ने, इवान टोनी के ऊपर बहुत डिपेंडेंट है, एंड थॉमस फ्रैंक को अभी भी पता नहीं कि इवान टोनी रहने वाला है कि नहीं. दे हैड साइंड अ स्ट्राइकर एज वेल हु इज नाउ इंजर्ड, Thiago, what's his name? Igor Thiago, yeah. Sorry, मैं नोट्स में देख रहा था. Igor Thiago, he is unfortunately injured for Brentford. तो वो इवान टोनी, will he stay, will he not, वो सिचुएशन अभी भी है. Unfortunately, Brentford fans का थोड़ा, I would say, एक stagnation आ गया. They were so exciting when they got promoted. They were regularly causing upsets. But last season they finished 16th, and things aren't really looking up for them at this point of time for Thomas Frank and his lads. And the last team in this preview are Sadhguru and Sean Dyche's Everton. Everton, I don't know whether कितने points deduct होने वाले हैं. I don't know whether they'll be deducted or not, but there are rumors right now in the media that they'll be facing a points deduction, which is a shame for them. They've made some interesting signings. Serie A से Lindstrom आया है, and of course they have Jack Harrison also on a permanent deal now, and Jared Branthwaite is one of the hottest prospects in English football. तो Sean Dyche है वहाँ पे. Sean Dyche के साथ में आपको पता है एक ब्रांड ऑफ फुटबॉल आता है, बट लेट्स सी हाउ दे मैनेज टू डू. एंड आई थिंक आई हैव कैप्ड ऑफ ऑल 20 टीम्स इफ आई एम नॉट मिस्टेकन. इफ यू स्टे टिल हियर, थैंक यू सो मच. आई एम गोइंग टू बी मूविंग ऑन टू द लास्ट सेक्शन, व्हिच इज द predictions. Alright guys, I have my book ready, at the ready, and I'll be reading out my predictions for the Premier League 24-25 season. I think Arsenal will win the Premier League finally. I feel Arsenal will finish first. It's going to be a 3-horse race, at least for the most of it मेरे हिसाब से. Man United will finish second. We will eventually have a very good throwback to the early 2000s. A classic battle between Arsenal and Man United, जो वो staple food, मतलब हम देखते देखते बड़े हुए जो era था of Henry, Vieira, Robert Pires, Lundberg at Arsenal, of course, and then in Man United you had Beckham, you had Scholes, you had Ruud van Nistelrooy, eventually Rooney, Ronaldo. But I feel that United will finish second and City will finish third behind them. मेरे हिसाब से City will kind of taper towards the end of the season, and वो एक हमने लिवरपूल में भी last year देखा था when Klopp had announced that he's going to leave, तो थोड़े results did get affected, and I feel that City will start strongly, but eventually I think they will taper off and finish third. I'm going for a Liverpool finish in fourth. Lot of changes, like I mentioned at the top of the video. It's a different era. It's a year of transition for them. Players depth का question mark है, but I think they're very capable to finish within the top 4. I'm going for Tottenham Hotspurs in fifth. Postecoglou के पास में enough firepower है, but is it enough to break into the top 4? I don't think so. Aston Villa finishing 6th under Unai Emery. Newcastle finishing 7th. West Ham finishing 8th. Chelsea at 9th. I'm sorry, Chelsea fans. Enzo Maresca may be a yes man, but I don't think so. कि the problems at Chelsea are solved yet. And capping off the top 10 are Crystal Palace. I think they'll finish within the top 10. So to quickly recap, Arsenal, Man United, Man City, Liverpool, Spurs, Villa, Newcastle, West Ham, Chelsea and Crystal Palace for the top 10. 11th place, I'm going for Leicester City. I feel that Leicester have enough quality to, compete against most Premier League sides. वो championship में एक aberration थे उन लोग. They were really, really good enough for the championship. Brighton to finish 12th and Sean Dyche's Everton to finish 13th. I feel that Everton, कुछ भी बोलो, अगर Sean Dyche रहेगा और अगर उनको फाइनेंशियल इश्यूज नहीं होगा, ऑफ कोर्स एट दिस पॉइंट आई डोंट नो कि उनको कितने पॉइंट्स डिडक्ट होने वाले हैं, स्टफ लाइक दैट, बट इफ थिंग्स रिमेन द वे दैट दे आर टुडे, आई थिंक दे हैव इनफ पोटेंशियल टू फिनिश इन 13th. आई एम गोइंग फॉर Fulham and Nottingham Forest between 14th and 15th. यार आई नो Nottingham Forest में वो मिलिंकोविच आया है तो Nuno is a decent coach, but Fulham, Nottingham Forest 14-15, you can interchange both of them. Brentford at 16th. Unfortunately, I feel that Brentford will not cause a lot of problems, and वो एक stagnation आएगा. Thomas Frank might even be sacked for all you know, and that could very well happen. He could be the first manager to be sacked. Thomas Frank, I feel, very good character, but yeah. Bournemouth 17th, because of Solanke's replacement not being found yet. If they get a good striker, like a proper striker, they might even finish higher, like 12th or 13th. But Bournemouth, say, at this point of time, I'm putting them in 17th. And finally, the 3 teams I'm predicting to get relegated are Wolves. I feel unka finally time is up, the jig is up. They have to be relegated. हमारे सेरिया में सासुओलो जैसा था, ये same Wolves का situation. I really want Wolves to drop down a level. Ipswich Town, I feel, will also get relegated. Again, थोड़ा तो McKenna को समय लगेगा. He's a great coach, no doubt, but can he do it at this level? That's a question mark. I know कि मैंने Twitter में कहाँ देखा था कि some Ipswich fans are very happy with the squad, but the reality of the Premier League is quite different. I have them going down, and Southampton also, unfortunately, to go down. I really feel that, यार, उनके signings, they've gotten Adam Lallana, they've gotten Brereton Diaz, but is it really enough? And whatever said and done, Russell Martin is an inexperienced coach as well, and I have them to go back. So 2 promoted sides, Ipswich and Southampton, to get relegated, along with Wolverhampton Wanderers, Wolves. That is it for the video. That was my Premier League preview and predictions. If you've watched the video till here, I am eternally grateful to all of you. Thank you so much for your support. Do hit that subscribe button and hit the bell icon. It really helps me to kind of build my community. Like the video, that helps the YouTube algorithm, and of course share it with your friends. This was massive, and thank you so much for watching. I'll be back soon with a lot of content आता रहेगा, ये चैनल में रुकेगा नहीं. मेरा नाम है अजय मेनन और आप थे AM Talk Sport पे. Until next time guys, ciao ciao.